Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. I got some sad news for you guys. Alright, it's a little bit unfortunate, but sometimes in life these kind of things do happen, eh? So what is this all about? It's regarding the Steam release for Brown Dust 2. So if you guys haven't heard it already, it got basically removed from Steam in the process, and it's going to be a little bit unfortunate, right? So they have already made an announcement on the official social media on the JP side, but on the global side, you can only look it through in the game notice, right? So right now you can see, just a quick side note, there's a coupon code. If you guys want to use it, right? For those of you who are already playing the game, but for those of you who are looking to play the game on Steam, unfortunately you cannot. They have decided to give up and let go of the Steam release. So here's what they have said on the official notice inside the game itself. Alright, so they have made this announcement. A notice regarding the Brown Dust 2 release on Steam. First of all, we would like to sincerely thank everyone who has been looking forward to our Steam release. We have been preparing for a Steam launch for a long time. Yep, I know they have been, right? Which is kind of insane. This is like not something that they did during a short period. It's like, I'm sure this is a long time planning, because I always watch the live streams with the developers. Players are always constantly asking, hey, do a Steam release, right? So that, players will basically be able to play your game on Steam, right? And I think it's a good thing, right? To be able to expand the game beyond just what it is currently, right? Right now you can see, but during coordination with the platform's policy requirements, we encountered an issue that cannot be reasonably resolved with the current version of the game. So apparently, it is something to do with the game itself, right? So it says here, cannot be reasonably resolved with the current version of the game. So of course this is very vague, right? It's very vague. It's up to me to interpret it however. It's up to you guys to interpret it however, right? It leaves you up to interpretation, right? So there's always going to be speculations here of why that is the case, because the game was there for it was there, the page at least was there for a couple of weeks, I think, right? After extensive internal discussion, which I'm glad they did, we have decided not to proceed with the Steam release. So that's how it is, right? So apparently this is going to be such a big issue or big deal that they just cannot, it's impossible for them to remove whatever is in the game. It's impossible for them to remove it to be able to do a Steam release. So again, I'm not sure what it is, right? So because like ideally you would assume that maybe is it because of like the sexual stuff, right? Or like the 18 plus stuff, because I doubt that's how it is, right? If that's the case, then they can just put like a 18 plus tag or adult tag, right? But because Steam has plenty of adult games, right? And it leads me to believe that it's not just that. I think it's something more to it, right? We deeply regret disappointing all of you who were waiting and cheering us on. We considered multiple options to make the release possible, okay? But in order to preserve the game's core direction and overall quality, we came to the conclusion that making the necessary adjustments at this time would not be appropriate. So maybe Steam requires them to censor some of the characters, right? Like, that's my guess. Again, this is all speculation. They are not being very direct to this. It's quite vague. So I'm just as confused to this as you guys are, because I'm sure everybody here is aware of how Steam is, right? If you go to Steam, let me just bring Steam up, right? So this is another game that I know, I'm sure plenty of you guys have heard of. Another gacha game called Horizon Walker, which is also like sort of like a 18 plus adult game, somewhat of that nature, right? That's also available on Steam. But Steam is, I don't think it's hard to say what is it specifically, because if it is going to be the sexual stuff, Brown Dust 2 don't really have explicit nudity, right? They try to keep it close as possible, but there's actually no real nudity in Brown Dust 2 if you guys play it before, right? Like that's just how it is. But if you go to Steam, you try to search something like look at this. If I try to search futa, you get a lot of insane stuff. So this is very, very confusing. So what is it with Brown Dust 2 that all of this game, right? You go and search all of these, like let's say MILF, right? Like this is something that you'll see a lot, right? You'll see a lot. So, you know, on Steam, they literally have all of these insane titles. So again, not too sure what is the thing, but if they say in order to preserve the game's core direction and overall quality, so that's what they're trying to say, right? And basically Steam is requiring them to either remove certain features in the game that's maybe offensive, or maybe like remove certain characters in the game that's maybe offensive. Now again, there's some speculation that says, okay, is it because of the lolly characters, right? Because, let me see, if I go and search this up, if I search the lolly stuff, then there's no real games that involve this on Steam, it seems like. So maybe it could be because of this, compared to everything else that you can see, like, you know, there are more extreme stuff. But when it comes to the L word, it seems like there's less of those stuff on Steam, or at least those things are, you know, more like tame, if it makes sense, right? You look at the titles, you can compare based on the search. So that's just how it is, right? At the end of the day, speculations aside, Brown Dust 2 is not going to proceed with the Steam release, so there's no other way. There's just no other way, right? So for now, if you want to play the game, you have to use the dedicated PC client. That's unfortunate, right? So for everyone who supported the Steam release, we will still be distributing all previously announced rewards, including community event rewards related to Steam and wishlist milestone rewards. So I'm glad that they are still trying to do that, but you know, at the end of the day, here is what it is. This will be sent out after the December 16 update. Okay, we are currently exploring alternative PC platforms that can provide a better environment for Brown Dust 2. And once the direction is confirmed, we will share the details with you as soon as possible. So another alternative besides Steam, the closest one will be Epic Games, right? Everybody here knows, like, that's the, if you're a gamer, it's either Steam or Epic Games. There's GOG, but that one doesn't work for Brown Dust 2, right? It's more of single player game. So a little bit unfortunate, right? We sincerely apologize for not being able to meet your expectations this time, and we will do our best to repay your support with a more stable and satisfying service. Thank you. So, statements have been made, and they will be proceeding with this. Unfortunately, I am a little bit sad that a lot of players that could potentially play this game will not play this game. Alright, just because most players, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are just like comfortable with Steam. They are much more like, you know, Steam has been monopolizing the market for sure, right? And I can see how this is like very difficult. And if the important point here that they have made themselves is like, you know, in order to preserve the game's core direction and overall quality, we came to the conclusion that making the necessary adjustments at this time would not be appropriate. That means, that sounds like something to do with the character in the game, or some sort of like special stuff like interaction in the game that they are required to remove and they can't do it. So if that's the case, you know, they have to maintain their integrity, right? Because at the end of the day, Brown Dust 2 is not trying to censor themselves. And I think there's a little bit of you know, acknowledgement and big shout out to them, right? Because if they are trying to remain the game's core gameplay, I respect that. Definitely a big respect to them, right? For not trying to censor the game in any way, shape and form. But is it worth it though to not release in Steam? You know, you guys let me know. Let me know in the comment section below. As per usual, this is how it is. I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, have a nice day. Goodbye.